Damn, I fucked up.
The viewer is gonna be like, "Who's this guy?"
Right? I think this is gonna be like the rare times you see like Lil Jon without his glasses on. That's what this one's gonna be. It's not gonna be often.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to I Want Entertainment Gamers Paradise 2, the game of the summer. We are here in level 3 with one of the gamers. His name is Sean. You might not recognize him. Look a little different today. No shades, no bucket cap. Back from
Don't look at
vacation.
my head.
You want me to start off giving you questions based off of like the start of
Yes,
last round? Okay.
yes, let's do that.
So we'll rewind a little bit. King is sent home. Thoughts on that?
Um, I hate to see the brother go, but he really wasn't the most active, so I couldn't really be mad at it. Gameplay is gameplay. So he slid into my DM while I literally was talking to Benny and was like, "Hey, I feel like I'm getting ground on people." He's like, "You should come and vote for me," and I was like, "Okay." So I say I vote for you. You keep me good, and you and I will be all right. And he was like, "Yep." And then that literally was the last communication we had, and that was like more than 24 hours before the vote. At least Benny was being active. He was talking to me. He and I have a shared relationship through the military. So I'm like, I understand what it means to be active duty and still trying to be like social and be in social media and stuff. So I can still give you the support. I'm down to vote with you, man. And so, like I said, it hurt to see King go, but the brother wasn't active. So yeah.
Level 3 saw a vast difference in voting compared to level 2. Level 2, you had all but 2 people vote for survival. And the start of this level, you had a gotcha, you had a random, you had a couple of sandbox, you had a couple of racing. Do you think there's any strategy behind those decisions? And what made it so different than the second level voting?
Well, this could be me just projecting, but I felt like I was in a position in an alliance early in the game. So when the first vote went out for it to be survival, it pretty much went up unanimously because everyone within the alliance influenced everyone within the game to pick that. But when certain alliances were crossed or there were rumors spread about the house, I think the majority alliance or the majority of the people in the house decided to do sandbox so that way they could put 2 people specifically within that alliance up on the block. Whereas the other alliance, the alliance that I felt as though I was a part of, we wanted to do racing so that way we could literally see where everyone stands. And if you're as open of a character or open as a player that you value, then the second game or the third game being racing and all of us seeing where everyone's loyalties lie, where everyone who trusts who, that would have really shaken up the game. So I think the fact that Sandbox was chosen was more than enough to indicate that they were willing to pick that level specifically to put 2 people up.
Now, you were one of those people who were voted up. Initial reaction?
Saw it coming. I've noticed that I am a very hard pill to swallow. I come off very confrontational, and all it is that I just stand my ground. And in most conversations, people think that it's a back and forth give and take. But if you don't have anything of substance to put forward, I usually don't put anything back forward. So I'm kind of just like a blank slate. So it makes it kind of an uncomfortable interaction for most people to speak with me, especially if you have phony intentions. So I knew that I was going to be a target for that reason. So that's why I need to be better at these competitions and I need to win. So that way I can secure my place in this game, because otherwise, socially, I know I'm not going to be able to maneuver the way I would like to.
So you're on the block. That was your initial reaction. It took a while to get into our corruptor challenge and stuff like that. But in the end, Brandon ended up winning.
Yes, he did.
what do you credit, and is like was there anything that you did, the relationship that you fostered with him in the first 2 rounds that made him swing in your favor? Because that was like a clutch decision, and whether it had something to do with you or not, what's your perspective on that?
I feel as though he and I have had a very mutually beneficial relationship, like one of actual respect. Once I found out that he's a music teacher and my younger brother is like he's going to school for music right now as well to be a music teacher as well. And then I'm like, I've supported my brother through all of his journeys. And like we were able to bond over music like that. He saw that how serious and like how of a trustworthy person I am. So when I came to him and I'm like, look, if you'd like to save me, I would really appreciate it. I will work with you however you need me to. And I was being genuine and honest. He was like, okay, that's all I really need to hear. I would definitely love to, to save you from this because I don't think you should be up here. So I will save you off the block. So I'm glad someone out there thinks that I don't need to be, the target all the time. So I really appreciate that.
Do you remember how many debug votes you got? I don't remember off the
6.
top of my head. 6. Do you think that those 6 people are now looking at you and Brandon with raised eyebrows?
Not at all. I feel as though I possibly might have been the lesser of two evils. And at this point, I have shown myself capable in a competition. So strategically, it makes sense to save me over the other two since I had already won a challenge. And because there's the whole quote unquote rumor around the house that it's not a rumor, it's accurate fact that I'm married to Jackie. We just haven't been parading it around that we're a married couple in the game. We're two separate people playing two separate games. But he could be taking into account that because I'm married to Jackie, that could be potentially another shoe-in with her. So that way he can maneuver and push his game further. So as long as it keeps me here, that's all I really care about at this point.
Now, you just participated in the CPU competition. How do you feel you did?
I feel like I did pretty well. Getting over 100, that makes me feel good. Being an athlete, being a former active duty military member, and then just being randomly told to take a ping pong ball and cups and to see how many you can get in a row, and me being able to get over 100 on my third try, I think that's pretty good. So if anyone can get more than that, if I had a hat, I would have taken it off right now. Like, good on you, mate. Like, good on that. You deserve that way more than I did at that point.
Now, if you end up winning it, where's your head at in this decision? First sandbox level, first person with complete control over who leaves.
Mm-hmm. At this point, I honestly don't know. If I'm being 100% real, it would be between Sharonica and Haley. Like I said, I already told Benny that I have his word. I will never say his name. I will never write his name down. Like he has my word as a military brother. I'm not kicking him out. Sharonica has caused waves in the house, which gives me more than ample reason to want to get her out. But on the other hand, that makes her a beautiful shield for me. Like I'm used to playing Survivor. So if there's someone who's upset the tribe early, that they become your goat and you take them to the end with you. So why would I get away a huge meat shield like Sharonica? We could get rid of her whenever we wanted. And I could use that strategy to get her and myself further. Same thing with Benny. If they wanted to say, let's get rid of Benny, which still freaking baffles me why someone would use a whole power to put him on the block with Sharonica and I, but I digress. But we could use that same approach with Benny. Like, hey, look, he's active duty military. He's always going to be working. Like his schedule definitely comes first. He's not a real threat to win this game. We can literally get rid of him whenever. We can get rid of him now at 10, at 7. It doesn't matter. We can get rid of him. He's a number at this point. So keep him, stay in good connections. So at this point, keeping Sharonica keeps a meat shield. keeping Benny keeps a shield. Haley makes another potential winner in this game. I mean, she has a story. She teamed up with Sharonica in the beginning, made her look bad. This is her very first game. She fought back from the bottom. What if she goes far and she wins a couple of challenges? She gets some power. And then next thing I know, I'm up on the block because there was a chance for me to get rid of her and I did it. And it wouldn't be anything personal. It wouldn't be because I have bad blood with her. Of the three people, who leaving benefits me the most? Benny leaving, that's another ally, a very close ally who I am very trusted to leaves. Sharonica leaves, that's a huge meat shield, somebody who's stirring up stuff in the main chat, which is taking everyone's attention, but at the same time, giving me ample ammunition to talk to everyone on a personal level. Why would I get rid of such a beautiful opportunity like that? So no, I would keep Sharonica solely based on that reason, and I would keep Benny solely based that those two could be my shields. If we survive this round, if it's me, Sharonica, or Benny, those two have caused the most or have been in the most drama. I've won, but I've kept more people safe than I've caused drama with. So I would stay over that. That's just my analysis of it.
All right. At this point in the game, especially looking into the future, level 4, let's do like a 3. Who are 3 people that you feel like are going to be very valuable in your success? That you will need these people in the future to help you slay the game.
Garrett, Brandon, and Romeo. Those 3. Garrett, Brandon, and Romeo.
Okay, and flip side, who are 3 people that you know, whether it's next round, whether it's top, like you said, 10 or 7, that these people need to be out of this game for you to be set up the best for success at any given moment, essentially?
Tasha, Tyler, and Jackie.
Perfect. Drew, I'm not sure if you're with family driving, but if you have anything you want to throw at Sean.
I wasn't here for the whole thing, so I don't know what you asked. So sadly, no.
kind of went through the highlights of the pretty much this round up until this CPU challenge. Sean, is there anything that I haven't specifically asked that you were meaning to get off your chest during this confessional? Because I do have something else to talk about, but I think we're going to save that for then after this recording.
Got you. Anything I want to say on the live? That's the thing. I think while there's been a lot of drama in the main chats, I've done a pretty decent job of keeping my literal name out of the chat, but everyone has had something to say to me behind the scenes. So I think that's a good thing. But at the same time, even though nothing in the main chat has been said about me, I was the second nominated person. So while that's good, that means I'm close enough to the fire to put it out, but I'm also the closest to it getting burned.
That's
like that analogy.
I've never heard anybody say that. That was fucking good.
Write that down, y'all. That was off the top.
Right,
that was off the dome.
Down. Coined by Sean.
Yes.
Speaking of the main chat stuff, what are you observing from it? What's your reaction, and what are you learning from all of the drama?
What I'm learning is people would never act this way in person. Like that, and that's the beauty and like the hideous side of this game. Like I am being my true 1,000% authentic self. Everything I am typing, I will verbally say to your face. I do not care. I have been yelled at. I've been spit at.
Who do you think is playing a keyboard warrior?
Oh. Okay. I feel as though Sharonica is playing her authentic self, and just like I am, which is a very confrontational individual. And when people respond, people being in a nice way, Autumn in a nice way, Haley, Papa. Like, I feel like the way that they've responded, or Kennedy sometimes, but not really too much Kennedy, just a little bit. But I feel like all of these people, if they were like standing in front of her and she was bringing these accusations to her, it wouldn't be the same way. I feel like if we were all in each other's faces, I think Sharonica and I would have the same exact play style, but I think everybody else's would have changed if we were all in person. That's all I'm noticing.
That's interesting. Interesting. Never thought about that, but that is interesting to
and that's something that you notice, like especially in the military, or like you can see how people are around their superiors, and then you see how people are in the barracks around like people who are their same rank, and then you see how they are around people who are lower rank, and like you have those guys who are literally the same guy between all those three tiers, and then you see people who like literally switch up between all three. They code switch between the each sides, and it's like sometimes they're better in between. Sometimes they're better with their own people and they're like worse off in the other tiers. Sometimes they're only good people around their upper tiers, and sometimes they only exist or only stand out above their juniors because they're like trying to bring them up and they don't want to be involved in all that other stuff. So it's just like really unique to see how people maneuver through certain situations, and you like learn to read that out real quick.
You're like comparing and identifying the character types in this game to what you've experienced in life in the military. Kind of funny.
Kind of had to. I mean, as a training instructor, I would go through like anywhere from 70 to like 80 people every 3 months when I was training people. So I had to learn how to connect with different types of people. And then it's different. Like if I was just a basic drill instructor, like it'd be easy. I'm just wiping you. You've never been in the military before. I just have to yell at you and scream and you have to listen to me. But when you're in the honor guard, when you've already been in the military for a certain amount of time, you've already been taught a certain way. I don't necessarily have to break you down into learning a new way. I have to I have to gradually ease you into it because you've already earned your rank. I already respect you. And because I got this position when I was a senior airman only in E4, there were sometimes I was training like staff sergeants, master sergeant. So it's like, yeah, you might have been in the military for 12 years longer than I have, but I've been doing this for 2 years and you haven't done it at all. I've performed in over 170 funerals and parades. You haven't done any. So you need to listen to me, but I don't need to be a dick about it. Right. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, so I've had to learn to interact because I joined the military at 17 and I got my very first position of authority at 18 in the military. I was in charge of like 28, 29-year-olds. And they're like, bruh, you still drink milk, chill. So I've had to like garner and earn people's respect who are a higher class of me, who are a higher rank of me. And they might have even been older than me, but I've still had to speak to them on grown level issue and then command their respect. So like learning how to talk to people of very different backgrounds, I've been doing that literally my whole life. So like seeing how the different archetypes of people maneuver and seeing how they talk and how they interact with people and like how this game of telephone goes around. I'm like, I'm picking up all the phones. I'm picking up phones. I've been coining a term like, don't come to me with tea unless you have a cup. And a cup is a name. So unless you got a cup, don't come to me with tea. Go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question based off of this military conversation. And
yeah.
You're a military man. You've been in the military a long time. Do you, and like how you interact with people, just by hunt, your like whole just life, your character is based off of that foundation, right?
Not necessarily. Because before that, I was also raised in Philadelphia and my father's a police officer. So I also have that foundation, and I have the foundation of coming from a very pro-Black background, which wants me to do everything I can to represent for the African diaspora in North America in the best way I can.
And this kind of adds on to it. Okay, so between these two different types of backgrounds, right, that merge together to create Sean, right?
Right.
Have you, in this game, the Gamer's Paradise, have you, let me think about the way to phrase this. Have you found yourself has it been easier or more difficult to interact? And obviously you interact with civilians every day, right? But
Right.
in this game context, right? Have you found yourself finding it like more difficult to interact and bond and get to know people and connect with them? Or is it easier based off of this, you know, pro-Black, what out of East or West Philadelphia, upbringing,
Northeast,
North,
right.
Northeast, Northeast slash this 17-year-old into the military for X amount of years. Have you found it difficult or easy? Has those two backgrounds helped or sort of hindered your flourishing in this game with a bunch of civilians from all different types of backgrounds in this competitive environment? Because it's not normal life, right?
Right. So I would say my background being like the hardened East Coaster from Philly and who goes into the military and is now gotten out and is the hard ass. That's like one half of my personality, but the other total half is that I'm a big nerd blurred who is a huge cannabis enthusiast. So while I relish in like the respect and like reading people and like knowing how to handle confrontations, like while I'm good with that, I'd much rather talk to you about Power Rangers, Marvel, DC, Iron Horse. Like, let's talk about playing the game of Munchkin. Like, let's play Monopoly, and I will whoop ass in some Monopoly. Trust me, I've played Monopoly for 6 days straight before. I can do it. So I'm like,
oh, sorry to say, or we can talk about how awful all the superheroes are, but those are the movies I fall asleep in. Those are the only movies I don't watch, except Spider-Man.
We could go there all day on the hero front, boy.
Sorry, how to jump in.
No, yes, I'm so glad you did. It's like everybody's like, who's your favorite superhero? They're like, I love Spider-Man. Everyone's like, oh, Batman is awesome. Superman is the greatest. What do you like, Sean? I'm like, Mr. Terrific or Blue Marvel, and they're like, who's that? I'm like, go do your homework. And that's all I gotta say. I'm like, oh, I love Static Shock. Who's Static?
Oh my God, Drew, my laptop is gonna die. I'm giving you host. I'm just gonna grab my phone really quickly.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Like 2 seconds. No, I'm staying on here. I'm staying on here. I just don't want to die right in the middle. I looked at
You're good.
I looked at my my little battery thing because it's been red for a while.
So it's like, to continue on with the question, like,
yeah, go for it.
While the whole military and like hard Eastern side is also a huge part of my foundation and upbringing, at the same time, I've also been a huge blurred my entire life. So it's been very hard for me to be like hard into Beetleborgs and stuff like that on the East Coast when it wasn't cool yet. When I went into the military in 2008 is when Iron Man became a movie and like everybody hopped on. Before that, I was literally fighting off people for being a nerd. Like, I had to explain to my peers around me why I was liking Pokemon, why I liked Digimon, why I was getting Shonen Jump sent to the house every month, why I was reading books backwards, like why I was out skateboarding. Like, I was trying to do things that would bridge those two worlds together. And then when I joined the military, because I wasn't out hunting and shooting and I didn't own 58 different guns and I didn't want to go out and like go bow and arrow hunting and go like do all the obstacle courses all the time. I'd much rather sit inside, watch some anime and like practice my Rubik's Cube. But at the same time, I could do my damn job in the military. Like, just because I didn't subscribe to that lifestyle didn't mean that I didn't garner anyone's respect or I didn't want to have fun or I didn't want to go out and do stuff. So, coming into this, I tried to lead like, hey, I'm a vet, you know, I'm from Philly, what's up, what's good? But at the same time, I'm always smoking in front of people, letting like, hey, I relax, I'm chill, I'm from a very laid back lifestyle. Like, you can talk to me because I'm trying to be as open as I possibly can. Because if we're going to talk, we're probably going to talk about something pretty heavy. So you're going to need this. Like, that's usually where I'm coming from. So I'm like, I rather reach out to people and like have a good connection with them than think that I'm just this hard military ass, which I'm not, but I could be, but I'm no longer, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Do you pay do you pay mind? Is it like, do you need to size people up first to
Absolutely.
see which
Absolutely.
side of Sean they get? Are they going to get
Abso-
this blurred side right away, or are they
Yes.
going to get the military
Yes.
motherfucker right away?
Yes. And now here's the cultural anthropologist in me is like coming out now. I have been code switching since.
It's so funny because that was my first major in college. It was cultural anthropology. So, and like,
Cultural
you're like the
anthropology.
one person in my like adult life who spoke those similar words. It's so funny because I
Yes.
don't think I met someone who's like, oh, I'm a cultural anthropology major.
Dude. And it was like, because when I was going to school for the undergrad, it was like, do I just go get my degree in African American history? Do I just get my degree in African American studies, get my bachelor's and like call it a day? And then when I was talking with my mentor, she was like, here's the trick. If you just get a degree in African American studies, no one's going to take you seriously. They're just going to think that that's all you care about. But if you say go into cultural anthropology, or say you go into political science and then you minor in like Africana studies, African American history, your first degree on file is of the cultural anthropology, is of that other science. So that's what gets you hired into Yale. That's what gets you hired onto these other places. Like, you can't lead with it, but you can major in it. And I was like, don't lead with it, major in it. I was like, okay, so cultural anthropology with a focus in African American culture and a minor in political science. Got it. Got it.
And so that helps, that that knowledge and experience helps you have like determine who gets what side of you.
Absolutely, because I was actually taught it in school. I went to an all-Black private school in Philadelphia, one of the oldest independently owned private schools. I think it opened in like 1965, or like, no, I'm sorry, I think it was 1968, because it was, I think, a little bit after Dr. King was assassinated, when Mrs. Green and got her husband and like a couple other people on the block together, and they're like, look, we need to start our own school, we need to protect our children, we need to let them know about this world that they're getting ready to go into. And then Ivy Leaf was opened in 1968, and it ran all the way until, I believe, 2008. I think 2007 or 2008, it unfortunately closed because there was too many charter schools around it. But going to that environment, it was very pro-Black. Everybody in the school was Black. We celebrated Kwanzaa in school. We were taught French, Spanish. We got like deep social studies. We had trigonometry. In like 7th and 8th grade, we were being taught this. So it was known throughout Philadelphia. Like, if you went to Ivy Leaf, you were going to one of the like upper tier schools. And then I was also blessed in Philadelphia because in 2005, it became a citywide statute that you had to have African American history as a requirement to graduate high school. So having these tough conversations at a very young age, and one of the first lessons being like, you have, like, most of us POCs are taught at a young age that you have to code switch throughout society. Everyone is taught to do it. Like, when you go to get a job, you're not going to speak to the person who's hiring you the same way you would speak to your best friend of 12 years. Like, that's code switching. So Black people have had to learn within society to speak around the dominant society without being seen as uneducated. So when you approach other people, it's like, hey, if I don't know what kind of person you are, I'm not just going to drop a whole bunch of slang around you because I don't know what your experiences with other Black people have been. So I might have to be on guard. I don't want to feed into certain stereotypes right off the bat if you don't know me. So it's like, depending on how many experiences you've had with Black people specifically, I might give you a different version of Sean altogether, because I might be showing you like, hey, I know you haven't met one, but some Black people serve in the military. Hey, I know you haven't met some, but some Black people like to do free running and parkour. Hey, haven't met many, but some Black people like to do Rubik's Cubes and like really big nerds. So it's like, depending on your interactions, I read that off of your body language, off of how you've been speaking, the conversations we have, and your responses, to see how much of me I can put forward without turning you off or like making you uncomfortable. And that's something that a lot of POCs have to do with every single interaction with someone of the dominant society every single time. This is work that we have to do. So yeah, everybody, every POC in this country is their own cultural anthropologist in a deadly serious fashion. Ooh, that was a lot. I'm sorry.
I know you're good. Like I said, listening to your perspectives all day. Yeah.
But it's like when you that it's not a bad reason. It's just like we do it to protect ourselves, not necessarily to like judge someone else. It's always for protection.
Mm-hmm. I understand fully.
Okay.
Not that I've been in the position. It's difficult because like I'm not white, but I'm not black, right? I haven't experienced black racism, but I don't think, obviously, I feel like I've experienced privilege because I could be white passing, even though the white people in my life have definitely made me feel at times that made me remember, okay, you are not white, right? So like I am very fully aware. So it's like this weird middle ground where like I can relate to something that like a racist situation because I've been in them before. Not everybody likes a Hispanic person, but it's not the same. It's not like I have to live it every day because again, my skin color can pass in certain situations
you are passing.
or be looked over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas your situation cannot be. So yeah, when I say I understand, I do. Not that I've been in this situation, but I feel like I'm very good, at least now in my life, being 35 years old, like putting myself in positions, especially based off of my history, my past, right? So yeah.
And like the fact that you can like sit back, look back on your personal accounts and like be able to reflect on them and take in what someone else is giving you is like, that's beautiful. Because that's all people really want. It's like when we're sitting here telling you like, yo, this dude at work is being racist to me, as a friend or an ally, if I'm venting to you how I'm feeling, what's happening, it's not your job to then get on the defense. It's your job to then listen, to like hear my side and to then like empathize with me, not to immediately get on the fence and be like, well, I don't think they were trying to be the racist. It's like, whoa, hear what they're saying, look at the visuals, like, and then move forward from it, accept it and move forward because their feelings have to be validated because they are real. And that's the thing. Perception is actuality. So
and that is an example in real life, and it's literally bringing me back to what I am experiencing right now, right? In terms of just some things that are going on in the game, right?
Right.
Like and it's I have to sit back and see it and listen and it's difficult as a host because like, okay, let me stop this stream. I love y'all. We're done with this.